हेलो बच्चा पार्टी, रेडी? आज हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं कार्बन एंड इट्स एलोट्रोप्स। सो कार्बन कोई बहुत पसंद वाली चीज़ नहीं है, राइट? सो एनीवेज वील ट्राई टू मेक इट इंटरेस्टिंग। वेलकम टू साइंस अरीना एंड आई एम मोनिका। So, carbon has great capabilities. Why so, ma'am? Because it has created a separate branch of chemistry single handedly. What is that branch of chemistry? Organic chemistry. So, organic is a term which we are all aware of, right? Is the new trend today, organic food, correct? So anyways, so what are organic compounds? Organic compounds are those which have been derived from plants and animals and their derivatives. Means plants and animals से जो चीज़ें बनी हैं उनसे भी, right? The things which you derive out of these is what is organic compound, and the study of these organic compounds is organic chemistry. Okay. So we will now go into a very small part of the chapter, which is the Sarva Gun Sampann carbon. Okay, because it has created so many different compounds, we needed to create a complete branch of chemistry. So we have to read its qualities. So what are the great qualities it has? So it has 4 important characteristics. So what are these 4 characteristics? The first one is the tetra covalent nature of carbon. अब tetra मतलब tetra means 4. So carbon has a valency 4. So in order to complete its octet, it has to have 4 more electrons. So where does it get these 4 electrons from? So it has to bond with 4 other atoms to get those 4 electrons from the other atoms in order to become stable. So this is what is called as tetra covalent nature of carbon. So it has to bond with 4 other atoms to create or to attain its octet. So the tetra covalent nature means carbon has 4 valence electrons, and therefore in order to complete its octet it has to bond with 4 other atoms and therefore create 4 bonds. So this will give it its stability. Now if you look at this, here is carbon. So carbon has 4 valence electrons, 1 2 3 4, right? So very well it's not stable. So what it does is it bonds covalently with other atoms. That means the mode of bonding is sharing. So covalent bonds is what it creates. So on sharing electrons, say if it shares electrons with 4 different hydrogen atoms, it creates 4 different bonds, right? So now it is stable, its octet is complete. So we will discuss the intricacies of the bonding aspect a little later. We are just introducing you to what the nature of carbon is like. So now what is important here is, this is what is the tetra covalent nature of carbon. So whenever it bonds, it creates covalent bonds, right? Now the second aspect of it, the second important nature of carbon is catenation. Now what is catenation? It is the property by which carbon atoms bond with their own kind, means with other carbon atoms. So it has the capability of bonding with its own kind. And in what ways does it bond? It bonds in various ways. So it creates straight chain compounds, it creates branched chain compounds, it creates closed chain compounds. So there are various ways in which it bonds with other atoms and with itself. So with other atoms of its own kind. So this is what is catenation. Okay. Now the third important characteristic, it exhibits the property which is called isomerism. Now isomerism is a property in which compounds having the compounds have the same molecular formula, but they have different structural formula. Now if you look at this compound, okay, just an arrangement, so we are not going into details of it, right? So if you look at this compound, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, correct? Now this compound also has 4 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, but the arrangement is different here, right? This was a straight chain compound, this is a branched compound, branched chain compound. So this, ideally speaking, if you write the molecular formula of this compound, there are how many hydrogen atoms? So let's check this. So how many hydrogen atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it has C4H10 as its molecular formula. If you look at the molecular formula of this, there are 4 C's and how many H's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 H's. So again, the molecular formula of the two compounds is the same, but structurally they are different, right? Structurally they are different. So isomerism is the property by which the compounds have the same molecular formula but different structural formula. So if the structure differs, there are certain different properties it will have. Okay. So now this is the third characteristic it has. Now moving on to the final characteristic. So the final nature of carbon is the fact that it has the capability of forming multiple bonds. So it forms single bonds, it forms double bonds, it forms triple bonds, right? So between carbon atoms, if you look at this compound, okay? If you look at this compound, this has, between the carbon atoms, there is the presence of this double bond. In this compound, between the carbon atoms, there is the presence of this triple bond. You could have carbon compounds wherein you could have, between compounds, you could have a single bond. So single bonds, double bonds, triple bonds. So it has a capability of forming multiple bonds, but still they are all covalent bonds. So carbon can only form covalent bonds, right? So it bonds with other non-metal atoms to create these bonds. Alright. So these are the 4 important properties which carbon has, as a result of which it has been able to formulate so many different types of compounds in organic chemistry. Alright. Now, what is allotropy? Carbon has many different physical forms of occurrences, like it occurs as diamond, it occurs as graphite, it occurs as C60 Buckminster Fullerene. This is a term which is pretty long. Anyway, we'll come to that. So allotropy is that property. It is the basically allotropes are those substances which are physically different but chemically they are all same. So if I am talking about allotropes of carbon, means chemically they are all carbon but physically they are very different, right? So diamond can never look similar to graphite. They are very, very different, but chemically they are both carbon, right? So this is what is allotropes, and the phenomena is called allotropy. So allotropes are those elements which have the same chemical properties but they are different physically. So there is physical differences between them. And this phenomena of allotropes existing as elements with same chemical properties but different physical properties is called allotropy. Okay. So we are going to study some allotropes of carbon. So as I mentioned, we have 3 allotropes of carbon which we have to study. So this is diamond first. Okay, we are all in awe of diamond. So diamond has certain kinds of arrangement. So what is the kind of arrangement in diamond? So diamond has, in diamond, every carbon atom. So each of these carbon atoms is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms. So every carbon, if you pick up, it is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms. So when it is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms, it creates a structure which is a tetrahedral, tetra means 4, a tetrahedral rigid structure. So this structure, as a result of such compact bonding, is creating a rigid structure. So it has a 3-dimensional rigid tetrahedral structure, wherein every carbon atom is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms, and as a result of which this diamond is very hard. It is the hardest substance known and has therefore got a very high melting point. Correct? Now इससे ज़्यादा हमें नहीं जानना है about diamond. Alright? So there is a very basic amount of information which we require, and we'll just stick to that. So moving on to trying to understand graphite a little and compare it to diamond. So graphite कैसा दिखता है? कुछ ऐसा दिखता है. So how is it different? Now in case of graphite has every carbon atom bonded to three other carbon atoms. So every carbon atom is bonded to 3 other carbon atoms. So in this process of each bonding to 3 other carbon atoms, it creates a hexagonal ring form of structure. And these hexagonal rings are arranged in layers. And these layers are arranged one above the other, separated by weak van der Waals forces of attraction. So the forces of attraction that exist between these layers is weak. Okay. So because these are weak forces which are keeping these layers together, these layers are able to slide over each other. And because they are able to slide over each other, this gives graphite the property of it being used as a great lubricant. Because lubrication has to do with its slimy property, correct? So if it can slide over, if the layers can slide over each other, this is going to give graphite its lubricating property. There is one more property here. Now there are free electrons available between these layers, right? So they can move between layers, and therefore this also gives graphite a great electrical conductivity. So graphite is also a great electrical conductor. So it is very much used as great electrodes. So they are good electrodes because they have great electrical conductivity, right? Because of the availability of free electrons between the layers of the hexagonal rings here, right? So this is what graphite is. Now moving on to the last compound here, the last element here, the last allotrope here. So this is what C60 Buckminster fullerene is looking like. So it looks like a football. And because it looks like a football, it is also called a buckyball. Okay? So its pet name is buckyball. So here what we have is 60 carbon atoms are arranged within the molecule in the form of hexagonal and pentagonal rings. So see, so you have hexagonal rings and you also have pentagonal rings. So this creates a structure which is a complete sphere. It looks like a football, and therefore this is a pet name given to it. It looks like a soccer ball, so isko ek pet name diya gaya hai. So what is it? It's the buckyball. It is known as the buckyball. So this was about the allotropes of carbon. So now let us compare diamond and graphite. Okay. Now diamond and graphite, structurally, diamond has a three-dimensional tetrahedral rigid structure, as compared to graphite, which has hexagonal layered structure wherein the layers slide over each other, right? Now diamond, each carbon atom is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms. In graphite, each carbon is bonded to 3 other carbon atoms. Now as a result of which diamond has no availability of free electrons between layers, between the structure. So it does not conduct electricity in the absence of free electrons. And as I told you here, the layered structure have free electrons between them, and because they keep moving in these layers, within these layers, they are available for conduction, and therefore graphite has good electrical conductivity. Again, diamond is supposed to be the hardest substance known because of its tetrahedral rigid structure, and graphite is a great lubricant because of its slippery properties, which is as a result of the layered hexagonal rings arranged one over the other, that gives it its property of it being slippery. So it is slippery and soft and acts as a good lubricant. This diamond is supposed to be a transparent substance, and graphite is opaque, dark in its nature. So these are some of the comparisons between diamond and graphite. So this was our first step towards carbon. It's a very, very small step, and as we progress, there is this property of isomerism, which I will be revisiting, because isomerism has so much more to it, and we need to understand how to create isomers and how to name these isomers. And I'll only be able to do this once I have done the nomenclature of carbon with you. So this will gradually proceed, and I will try to clarify it to you to the best of my effort. I hope you have liked the session, and please stay connected with me in the following sessions to come. See you. Bye bye.